to Governor Mike Huckabee, the former presidential candidate, with his read on this very divided Republican Party right now and whether they can ever kiss and make up. I don't know whether it happens, Governor, after New York results are in. Donald Trump favored to do very well, but he's already sent out the message here that he thinks he's going to get burnt at the convention and that if he's a little shy, they'll make sure he doesn't get it at all. Do you share that?
Well, I do in a lot of ways, because what we're seeing is a manipulation of the rules. People will defend it and say, but those are the rules. Well, the rules may be there in fine print, but look, to the average voter, if a person wins a state, like Donald Trump did, let's say in Georgia, and then they go back in when the party meets behind closed doors and figures out a way to manipulate the rules so that even though he won, Ted Cruz gets the delegates, I just don't think that sits well with people. And it's the reason that Donald Trump and Bernie Sanders are doing well, because they talk about how the system is rigged. And look, here's what really matters to most people. It's not that the political system is rigged against Donald Trump or Bernie Sanders. It's that the overall political and governmental system is rigged against every American. And this is just one more way of putting the exclamation mark on that.
You know, I guess I just don't see it quite that way, Governor. I see a guy that is Donald Trump. And remember, it was a very divided field when you were in there up to 17 candidates. He's gotten about 37, 38% of the vote, but he has about 43, 44% of the delegates. If that's a system screwing him, and I know you're a brother, and I apologize for that, but man, he's doing okay by it.
Well, look, it's like the Electoral College. You may not get the popular vote, but if you win the electoral vote, you're the president. And so people do understand that there is a way in which the rules are sometimes that you don't win the popular vote, but you still win the election.
But he's doing well by the rules, Governor. Now, what I'm saying is he's doing okay by those rules.
Yeah. Well, he is. I think what bothers people is when it's after the fact. If it's months after the votes were counted, months after a person wins a primary, and then another person ends up getting those delegates, that just doesn't seem right to the average American. And again, it reflects what they feel is happening to them and to their families.
No, you raise a very fair point. And both sides and both camps, both parties have argued this, something that's been around for quite a while. Having said that, though, there is this rule that sticks in a lot of people's minds here, this 40B rule, that only those candidates who have won 8 or more primaries can compete in ballots. By that math, it would just be Donald Trump and Ted Cruz. And by that math, that rule doesn't change, and neither camp in that camp wants it changed. It would be, if someone doesn't get it on the first ballot, the 1237 on the first ballot, it would just be those guys competing, ballot after ballot after ballot. What do you think of that?
I think it's one interpretation, but the fact is, if you read the rules very carefully, 40B says that as long as the rule is in place prior to the first round. So it's possible that states could go back in and meet as delegations and can award, let's say, Mike Huckabee, their votes. And then I would be eligible to be nominated. Not that I'm expecting that to happen,
you see what I mean? That
so,
would immediately get both camps going and getting angry, saying they changed the rules again. So you can't satisfy anyone.
Well, I think it would be a drastic mistake if the party did that. Keep in mind, a lot of people don't know that the RNC Rules Committee, which is 55 members, will discontinue at the start of the convention, and then there will be a convention rules committee of 110 members, and it will actually set the rules for the convention. And so whatever rules are being talked about by the RNC Rules Committee could be thrown out the door by the Convention Rules Committee. I know it gets very complicated, but it needs to have the appearance of transparency and fairness, or there is going to be an absolute meltdown going on in Cleveland.
Yeah, you can't satisfy everybody. We'll see. As long as you make the rules a little more generous on catering than you did 4 years ago. I found the catering in Tampa was awful, but that's just me. Governor, thank you very much. Always good seeing you.
Thanks a bunch, Neil.